September 2nd. We had now reached a part of the river where, according to all report, a great deal of danger was to be apprehended from the Indians. We became extremely cautious in our movements. This was the region inhabited by the Sioux, a warlike and ferocious tribe who had, upon several occasions, evinced hostility to the whites and were known to be constantly at war with all the other neighboring tribes. The Canadians made many incidents to relate respecting their savage propensities, and I had much apprehension lest these cowardly creatures had taken opportunity of deserting and retracing their way to the Mississippi. To lessen the chances of this, I removed one of them from the pirogue and supplied his place by Poindexter Greeley. All the Greeleys came in from the shore turning loose the horses. Our arrangement was now as follows. In the pirogue, Poindexter Greeley, Pierre Junot, Toby, and one Canadian. In the large boat, myself, Thornton, Wormley, John, Frank, Robert, and Meredith Greeley, and 3 Canadians with a dog. We set sail about dusk, and having a brisk wind from the south, made good headway, although, as night came on, we were greatly embarrassed by the shoals. We continued our course without interruption, however, until a short time before daybreak, when we ran into the mouth of the creek and concealed the boats from among the underwood. September 3rd and 4th. During both of these days, it rained and blew with excessive violence, so that we did not leave our retreat at all. The weather depressed our spirits very much, and the narratives of the Canadians about the terrible Sioux did not serve to raise them. We all congregated in the cabin of their large boat and held a council in regard to our future movements. The Greeleys were for a bold push through the dangerous country, maintaining that their stories of the voyagers were mere exaggerations, and that the Sioux would only be a little troublesome without proceeding to hostility. Wormley and Thornton, however, as well as Pierre, all of whom had much experience in the Indian character, thought that our present policy was the best, and although it would be necessarily detain us much longer on the voyage than would otherwise be the case. My own opinion coincided with theirs. In the present course, we might escape any collision with the Sioux, and I did not regard the delay as a matter of consequence. September 5th. We set off at night and proceeded for about 10 miles when the dog day began to appear, and we hid the boats as before in a narrow creek, which had as well adapted to the purpose. As its mouth was almost blocked up by a thickly wooded island. It again came on to rain furiously, and we were all drenched to the skin before we could arrange matters returning in the cabin. Our spirits were much depressed by the bad weather, and the Canadians especially were in a miserable state of dejection. We had now come to a narrow part of the river where the current was strong, and the cliffs on both sides overhung the water and were thickly wooded with linn, oak, black walnut, ash, and chestnut. Through such a gorge we knew it would be exceedingly difficult to pass without observation, even at night, and our apprehensions of attack were greatly increased. We resolved not to recommence our journey until late, and then to proceed with the most stealthy caution. In the meantime, we poised a sentry on shore and one in the pirogue, while the rest of us busied ourselves in overhauling the arms and ammunition and preparing for the worst. About 10 o'clock we were getting ready to start when the dog gave a low growl which made all of us fly to our rifles, but the cause of the disturbance proved to be a single Indian of the Ponca tribe, who came up frankly to our sentry on shore and extended his hand. We brought him on board and gave him whiskey when he became very communicative and told us that his tribe, who lived some miles lower down the river, had been watching our movements for several days, but that the Poncas were friends and would not molest the whites and would trade with us upon our return. They sent him now to caution the whites against the Sioux, who were great robbers and who were lying in wait for the party at the bend of the river 20 miles farther up. There were 3 bands of them, he said, and it was their intention to kill us all, in revenge for an insult sustained by one of their chiefs many years previously at the hands of a French trapper.